Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Sound Test Room. Today we are going to explore the strange world of SoundScaper, and we're going to do some crazy experimentation with sound. Because although we are musicians, we still like to experiment with noises. That's the fun of it, I think, anyway. So this is SoundScaper. I just need to say hi to Stephen. Hope my ears can hear well enough. I hope your ears get sorted out soon, mate. Anyway, I'm feeling much better. The terrible vertigo went away. I guess when I cleared my ears, that kind of helped. I think. I'm not sure. Anyway, hi Daniel. So we're going to feature some of Daniel's samples in this as well. I would suggest if you've got SoundScaper or you're going to consider getting SoundScaper at some point to start from a blank scene. I have no idea how this works really. There's all sorts of cool stuff. You have this fantastic control section, which is great fun. You have a morphing section, which is also great fun. You have 3 oscillators. You can change the color. I quite like this one. It's quite pleasant for my eyes. You have 3 oscillators at the moment. In 2 oscillators, because I started from a blank patch, I have nothing in these 2 here, and I only have 1 sample in this one here, and it's this one from Les Productions Zvon.
Do you think human beings may become contaminated if his blood is injected into their veins? Do you think human beings may become contaminated if his blood is injected into their veins? Do you think human beings may become contaminated?
Now, these are the oscillators, and these are the placement in the stereo field, and the further up, the closer they go to the actual reverb settings. You're not going to hear the stereo field, obviously, because it's a mono feed. Really doesn't matter with this app. This one here is the one you're listening to now, and if I move this further up...
Do you think human beings may become contaminated if his blood is injected into their veins? Do you think human beings may become contaminated if his blood is injected into their veins?
Okay, so you have 3 oscillators, 3 LFO controls, 3 LFO and delay panels here that pertain to each of the oscillators. So it's quite straightforward in how it's laid out. When I first got this, I did some videos with it. I mean, it's years old. And I decided to not dive too deeply into how it works, because I had more fun experimenting with this and just trying to do mad stuff with it, you know? Kind of like you didn't know what you were doing. I clearly don't. And just playing around with it. And you get some fab things. You work out what stuff does as it goes. So let's play with just this first oscillator here.
Do you think human beings may become contaminated if his blood is injected into their veins? Do you think human beings may become contaminated if his blood is injected into their veins? Do you think human beings may become contaminated if his blood is injected into their veins? Do you think human beings may become contaminated if his blood is injected into their veins? Do you think human beings may become contaminated if his blood is injected into their veins? Do you think human beings may become contaminated if his blood is injected into their veins? Do you think human beings may become contaminated if his blood is injected into their veins? Do you think human beings may become contaminated if his blood is injected into their veins? Do you think human beings may become contaminated if his blood is injected into their veins? Do you think human beings may become contaminated?
So you can reverse samples. That's the speed of the LFO. This is where you're going to have the most fun, these little patch points. You switch it on at the top. It won't do anything unless you put another one in. If we switch address circuit shift on, so happy with what I've done to that one. Let's put another one in. So I'm going to quieten that down. We can mute it. We can switch the address circuits on off here. So you see both of those are on there, like that there. If we go to our control, you'll see they're both on there. If I turn one off, it will obviously switch that on. So you do have like a performance control aspect to it with the address circuits being able to be switched on and off, and the clock offset as well. So we've got the timing of the clocks quite slow, so it's really deep. So didn't you? Oh, the waiting video was up, Colin. Anyway, never mind. Anyway, so let's go to our next one. So let's go to our control panel for our second oscillator. We can swap backwards and forwards here. And you'll see it's basically a blank canvas. And here's where we can choose samples. We can use the built-in library, of course, or we can import user libraries from the file app. Well, we drop any files we want into the SoundScaper folder in the files app, and they appear here. So these are all Daniel's. So what we shall do, shall we? We shall just add some stuff in here. Now, let's try this one. And we can play it.
Today, medical science patches up mutilated bodies, transplanting human skin, eyes, limbs.
Or this one. I think this is...
Could already be getting into your bloodstream.
Oh, we'll do that one. Or there's this one.
This girl was buried in a nearby cemetery yesterday.
Right, okay. So let's switch our oscillators back on. What we need to do to get this loaded into our oscillators is press set, like this, and then we can press play. And then it's number 2.
By Dr. Otto Frank, and brought to this hidden laboratory. He has grafted a living animal's brain
so
into
even
this
now,
dead body. This girl was buried in a nearby cemetery
blend
yesterday.
in our first one.
Only a few hours ago, her body was stolen. By Dr. Otto Frank, and brought to this hidden laboratory. He has grafted a living animal's brain into this newly dead body. This girl was buried in a nearby cemetery yesterday. Only a few hours ago, her body was stolen. By Dr. Dr. Otto Frank.
And brought to this hidden laboratory. He has grafted a living animal's brain into this newly dead body. This girl was buried in a nearby cemetery yesterday. Otto Frank. Hours ago, her body was stolen. By Dr. Frank. This girl, in a nearby cemetery. Body was stolen. By Dr. Frank. Body was stolen. By Dr. Frank. This girl, in a nearby cemetery.
And then
Body
let's
was
have
stolen.
some
Body
more
was
trigger
stolen.
points.
By Dr. Frank.
And then we can change the kind of order.
This girl, nearby cemetery. Body was stolen. By Dr. Frank. Body was stolen.
Body Frank.
This girl, nearby cemetery. Body was stolen.
By Dr. Frank.
Body was stolen. By Dr. Frank.
This girl nearby cemetery.
I tell you, I'm not a kid. I love this idea. Let's add another one. I'm going to set that. So we do have a randomizer as well, but I quite like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap it where it says TSTR inject blood, which is the name I've given this kind of session. And I'm going to, well, actually, I don't need to save it from there. I can just save it from there. So save, and I'll go okie dokie. And then what I shall do is go to my morphing now and use TSTR Sound Market, which is another thing moment, I think, is, have I stopped morphing? Let me just, right. This is another one I did. See, morphing, it's morphing. It's morphing towards the spaceship is broken, which is another one I did. You can change the way it morphs. It's very, very cool. So we can play with the, actually what we'll do, we'll use one of the demos and we'll play with some of the actual random features. Are you going to get a wave state then, Colin? We can change the sample on the fly, but bearing in mind it will take on the characteristics of whatever you've programmed in here. I'm setting the same sample for each of the oscillators. You have a gate as well for each sample, which works exactly like a noise gate does. So. It's such fun. And I have been watching so much Star Trek, it's unreal. Next Generation. It's got full MIDI lane, so if you've got a controller, you can assign everything to everything. Like I said, you can change the colors. This is just a really nice color for my eyes, and I can actually see it. So what do the squiggly lines do? This is a good question, Paul. The squiggly lines, well, they're all part of the modulation settings. This puts the oscillators in like the stereo field, and then it's how long it takes for them to catch up. Like I said, I didn't really set out to try and learn how it actually all worked. On purpose, I just thought, well, I'm having so much fun just messing around with it. Well, this is quite a nice one. great fun. Changing the samples. Hi, Sam. Go to user. So now we've swapped out the samples, but things still sound similar because of the way it works. And there you go. If you've been watching this for SoundScaper, you can go now because it's the after the show where we're going to play some music. We're going to play a couple of tracks from Joe, and I'll show you what I've been working on in Cubase's 3. I've completely deleted Cubase's 2 from my iPad. Yes. I'm so impressed with the update for Cubase's 3. It hasn't crashed not once yet. I'm very happy. Yeah, and it's very good. It's working fine. So, yeah. Once you've been listening to it, you know what? I'm not kidding, Jan. Experimental music apps. Does anybody know what the Coma Field Kit is? Has anybody ever seen that? It's a piece of hardware. It's an incredible piece of hardware, actually. And it's not even that expensive, but you can take it out if you've got a power pack, but you can basically it has different sensors, or you can plug different mics, and it's got all sorts of cool stuff on it. It's Coma with a K, Coma Field Kit. It's very, very good. This is kind of like this, and if you look at Igor Vasiliev's other app, which is FieldScaper. FieldScaper, you could genuinely tape out and take out and start to actually. I don't know. I have no idea what I'm doing here. So, because I haven't basically really set anything up for this, and I don't know. I haven't used this for ages and ages. But however. Again, this has 3 oscillators that you can manipulate and stuff, but you can actually directly record in. Now, these are complex apps. That's exactly the Stig. They're complicated apps. They're complex. They're not easy to use. They're not like straightforward bang bang bang. However, if you do spend an hour or so with them every time you use it, you start to get lost in the actual app and making changes to sound without actually having to know really how it works, which is very, very, very cool. And it is addictive. It's a bit like playing jazz and listening to jazz. Playing jazz is brilliant. Listening to it, if the musicians aren't that great, and for instance me, if I was playing jazz, it's fun to play, but unless you're a real hardcore jazz enthusiast or whatever, it's not so fun to listen to. It's like prog. Prog's great to play, but it's very indulgent. And if you're not a prog fan, you can just go like, well, why didn't you stop half an hour ago? You know, that solo. So it's a bit like that. Experimental music is lovely to do, but you really, really have to be in the mood to listen to it, and you really, really have to embrace it if you're going to listen to it, and try and dig out what the person who's making the music is doing. That's how I feel. Anyway, there endeth the lesson on SoundScaper and my thoughts on things like that. So let us see. We shall go and see. I was looking at that. The studio. What's it called? Studio Logic Sledge. I'd never ever buy one, but I thought I was looking at some videos of it. But it's pretty cool. Right. Anyway, so Widow. Free listening on SoundCloud. So we have two tracks to listen to: Mariposa and La Campanule, and then I shall take you into. This is the after the show, folks. If you came for SoundScaper, we've done with that now. I think half an hour with SoundScaper is enough for anybody to have to listen to. But if you've got it, dig it out again, have a mess around, genuinely start from a completely new, fresh performance, and then add some of your own samples in and have a mess with that. This is Mariposa. Then we will play La Campanule. Yeah, awesome. So these are Joe's new tracks, so go listen to them. It's only had 8 plays, the new one. This one's at 103. Go and listen. I think this was the wave state. I'm pretty sure that was just the wave state. Well, I think Joe might have added some effects though. I'm not sure. That's the first time I've heard that with 2 ears. And this is called La Campanule. Don't know where we've gone here. And this is the Modi X. I ought to say, right, as well, it's remarkable, really. The Joe plays all this in with their MIDI keyboard. There's no sequencing, unless it's obviously like a drum track or something, or a sequencer. But most of it is actually physically played in and overdubbed in Cubases, and she does it all herself. You know, I think it's really good. I do. You know, to come so far in so little time. Oh, here we go. Yes, very nice, isn't it? Very got a really nice classical vibe to it. That one. Hello, got a really nice classical vibe. Yeah, so that was the first one. Mariposa was. I'm not sure how many tracks. Did Joe say how many tracks it was? My chat feed stopped working. I'm not sure how many tracks it was. Quite a few, I think. I'm not sure, Colin. It was. I'm not sure how Joe uses it. Because I just leave it to it, you know what I mean? But anyway, so let's see. Yes, it has taken place. It has taken pride of place in my bar, Cubasis 3. So let's hear what I've been doing. I did. Some of you may have. I won't play you the whole thing because it's too editing again. So wait, is Synth Widow? Yes, Sam. Synth Widow is my wife, Joe. So this is one I started today. Okay, so Chompler, yes, I've frozen it now. Chompler by MSX. I shall be doing some videos for that as well, because they've just sent me all the bits and pieces, and I've got it. So you'll hear it at the end. I've done some sample chopping with it and stuff. So first two parts. Now this is nowhere near finished, guys. Okay, it's not even. It's just the absolute bare bones of the start of something. So it's going to be part of my experimental. I did that. It's going to be part of my experimental thing. 8 tracks, Colin. There you go. Album thing. So yeah, but this will take me a long time to put together. I would imagine. The other track I added some bits to today, as well. And I don't think Teen Thomas is here tonight, but I've also started. I need to email him later. I've started to master his album today. I've set it all up and everything. So I think I mastered a couple of tracks. So yeah, so that should be cool beans. We'll be listening to Dean's new album soon as well, which is I have to say very good. If you like synthwave and you liked Dean's first album, you'll love the second one. Here we go with this. There'll be a bit of a. I think I'll close the microphone anyway. It's gonna sound crap in mono, but hey ho. I'm I use T-Rex to master, T-Rex Max 2 to master pretty much everything. I'm not very good at mastering on the iPad. I guess I could master it on the iPad, but T-Rex is so blinking easy to use, and I've got so much stuff, so many different classic emulations of classic amps and stuff, and all the rest of it. It's just such a blast. To use. Anyway, here we go, guys. This again is I'm in a real experimental phase again at the moment, so there you go. So it'll be a lot more. It'll be a lot more dense when it's finished. It's a bit sparse. I quite like it actually. Anyway, that's fab. So those two are the wave state program. Both obviously I messed around with them considerably. That's Chompler. So we'll be having a look at Chompler. Yes. Yeah, you see, Colin, but you need to embrace your experimentalist. Thanks, Stephen. Well, I mean, it is what it is. It's experimental music, and like I said, it's more. Do you know what it is? I think making experimental music and not trying to. It's almost a discipline. It's like almost saying, right, I don't want to be melodic. I don't want to be kind of locked into some sort of tempo or as such, per section or whatever, or be too worried about being that melodic. But, and it's almost like therapy. You can spend a long time just manipulating tiny samples and tiny parts of samples, especially in the wave state. You can just pick one segment and think, oh, mate, thanks, RPJ, bless you. I'm nearly finished now, mate. But thank you very much. You can just isolate one step of, which you could be up to 128 steps per sequence lane, and just tweak that one step. And it will mean nothing to anybody else, And I'm not you. I mean, you ask Colin or John. I am like the least precious person when it comes to music, my music, because people. My opinion is that people, when they listen to your music, they don't know the work that went into it. They have no idea. If you've agonized over something for a long time. And the expectation is that you think, I mean, it's not, you think that people will hear the work, kind of, you hope that people will hear the work, but in reality, people don't hear the actual work that goes into it. They hear the track. So you can agonize for a long time over something, but with something that's experimental, it's nice to do all that kind of tiny tweaking and glitching of effects. There's no effects on this yet or anything, and just just get lost in the moment of it. And then when you put it all together and stuff, and you start to build it up, and and it starts to take shape, it's nice for you to listen to it, and probably less nice for other people unless they love experimental music. But there you go. It's nice to step outside the comfort zone. If you normally do melodic stuff, do something experimental. When you come back to doing melodic stuff, you'll go, oh, there's a new... Or you can include experimental stuff. Me and Colin did quite a lot with our music. There'll be quite a lot of strange experimental stuff going on during the track, if you like, sort of thing. Anyway, there you go. Thank you very much for joining me this evening. God, it's so good to hear in 2 ears. I can't tell you. I agree, Joe. It's nice to do. It does keep stuff fresh. It keeps stuff interesting, and you can put different hats on for different jobs you want to accomplish. Like if me and Joe are writing for Ethnesis, it's totally different. It's firmly rooted in pop rock genre of track. You know what I mean? The song singer songwriter kind of vibe. You're writing a song. It has a form. Verse, chorus, intro, middle, etc., solo part. If it's me and Colin, it's progressive, so we're writing quite long pieces in sections, sort of thing. So progressive rock is experimental is a different hat as well. EDM and dance, or stuff that I do in AUM, again, a completely different hat. And I've also found as well, different instruments, even if you can't play them, will give you a completely different feel for a track. So if I write something on a guitar and then it all ends up as keyboards, it would be something I would never ever have done if I was just playing on keyboards. And I found as well that using the wave state or say the MC707, which are totally different, obviously, or the Matrix Brute. Different instruments then give you a different aspect of approaching a composition. So it's all very interesting, and it's nice to think about what you're doing while you're doing it. You think, well, I would never have done this while I was playing this guitar. Even if you can't play guitar, it doesn't matter. Joe composed like quite a few tracks on guitar and recorded the guitar as well, and then worked out keys to go over the guitar. So, and that's something I should learn. That's something I learned from, because I often strum away on the guitar and think, oh yeah, that sounds nice, but I have no idea what I'm playing, so I'm not going to bother with it. Really, what I should do is what Joe did, is play it is record it into Cubases or whatever, and then try and work out keyboard parts to go with the guitar parts that I did. So yeah, awesome. There it goes. So brilliant. Yeah, enjoyed that. I enjoyed playing with SoundScaper as well. That was good fun. Right. Well, there are many different ways to compose, and I've got such a ridiculously eclectic way of composing. I can't. It's a style thing. I haven't got one style. I'm better at certain styles than other styles. I can do EDM, but I'm not very good at it. I can do prog. I'm okay at that. I can do singer-songwriter stuff. That's fine. Well, as long as I'm not the singer, of course. I'm quite good at experimental, but could be a lot better. So I think it's nice to. It's nice to keep pushing yourself, different directions, different things. Not necessarily musicality or anything like that, because I think you get to a certain age where you really, unless you're pushing yourself really hard, you ain't learning anything else. You know what you know, and that's it. It's nothing to do with making music. It's nothing to do with being a musician. Making music comes from inside you, not. And it's a different thing from being a commercial producer. Who writing music for a living is totally different. That's a job. That's a business. You can do that. That's fine. However, if you're writing for yourself, always write for yourself. Try and write to please yourself and not to please other people. Try not to think, well, I hope other people will like this, because you'll just get so wrapped up in trying to make it sound perfect that it just, and imperfection is good in music. You know what I mean? It really is. Anyway, I'll shut up now. It's 59. God. Right. Okay, folks. I'm going to make myself some meatball marinara subs. Well, actually, it might not be the marinara part, but Joe just went on at me about making a sauce. Not that she's going to eat it, but I should make one for myself. Anyway, someone sent me another app today. Mammoth bass guitar amp. So that should be fun to do. But I won't do that live. I'll do a proper video for that. Yes. Anyway. Okay. I shall go. Well, thanks, Jan. I don't know if don't know if there were lessons. Just my just how I do stuff. That's all. And it's a writer's block. If you've got writer's block, and everybody gets it, like sit there and think, oh, flipping it. Try doing something different, like a bit of experimental writing in a different genre, using a different kind of instrument. Who knows what's going to come out of the harmonicas? Who knows? Guys, I'm going to let you say ta-ra to each other. Bless you all for joining us this evening, where we looked at SoundScaper and listened to some of Joe's tracks and a bit of this experimental stuff. And I shall hopefully see you tomorrow evening with another live stream for something or other. And yeah, cool beans, top job, epic. See you guys later. Ta-ta.